Fields or Tua this week. He has Waddle. I think you go with the stack, and you mentioned the known quantity with Tua. Tua right now, for me, he's the quarterback 3 in Fantasy Pros consensus rankings. He's the quarterback 4 for me this week. They get Cleveland in Miami, and Tua is the quarterback 12 in total points, but he's the quarterback 7 in fantasy points per game just because he's missed those games due to the concussions. But he has a career high in completion percentage, career high in yards per attempt. He's already 1 touchdown short of his career high in passing touchdowns. He has 15 on the season. His career high is 16 last year in 13 games. He's only played in 7 games, and those 7 games is more like 5 games plus a little bit more. So it's obvious the impact that Jalen Waddle and the addition of Tyreek Hill have made for this Dolphins offense, and the schemes and strategies to get those players the ball is just, it's outstanding. The money throws are number 2 in the NFL. Adjusted yards per attempt is number 1. Yards per attempt is number 1. Red zone completion percentage is number 2 for Tua. Deep ball completion percentage is number 2. He's crushing it at all levels. He does have some of the most dropped passes in the league, but his true passer rating is among the best in the NFL. So I agree with you. It's a coin flip, but between Tua and Fields, but you know what you're getting more consistently with Tua.
Yeah, and everything you mentioned is correct. And, he has the highest QBR in the league, which that's pretty insane. I think he's right above Mahomes right now. And over the past 2 weeks, he's had over 300 passing yards back-to-back games, 3 touchdowns in both games. And he's actually right. Yeah, the past 2 weeks, he's actually right behind Fields. And we saw how insane of a game Fields had. I think overall, for the rest of the season, the Konami code rushing quarterbacks normally have a safer floor, but I actually do think Tua has a slightly better floor than Fields. 1 being the state of the offense, 2 being the pass catchers, the weapons, the offensive schemes, and I think Fields going to get there more often than not. But really, when you think about it, if he doesn't get the rushing touchdowns, it's pretty easy to see him be held under 20 points. I think more with Miami. They're the 7th, the highest pass rate over expectations. So all the points come through Tua and Waddle, but Tyreek and Waddle. But Tua's a catalyst, and all the points are flowing through him. The touchdowns, that's the way they're moving the ball down the field. So that's another argument that I made why Tua is a better pivot in the field. Thanks, because he actually does have a safer floor, and his ceiling is just as high with just the playmakers. So, yeah, I think. And you said the Fantasy Pros consensus, they had him at QB3.
Yes,
I'm pretty shocked by that because the industry projections have him lower than Fields, but I kind of like hearing that. So,
yeah, it's pretty aggressive so far. Tua has had 3 games this season where he's finished as the quarterback 4 or better. And that was the Baltimore game week 2, where he had, the 6 passing touchdowns and 469 passing yards. I finished as the quarterback 1 against Detroit, where he had 382 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns. And then last week against Chicago, the quarterback 4, 3 passing touchdowns, 302 passing yards. So, and this Cleveland Browns defense, they are willing to give up fantasy points, and I think this is a sneaky shootout. Actually, the Browns are not the Browns of old. They're willing to. Jacoby Brissett is not what he was back in 2019 or 2017 when he, stepped in for Andrew Luck and said he's been throwing the ball down the field more. He's been hitting Amari Cooper, and I know David Njoku is going to be out for this game, but Nick Chubb also has a really positive matchup. So this could be a game where both teams push each other offensively, and you want maybe one of the comeback rounds on if you're going to stack Tua with either Waddle or Hill.
Yeah, my favorite run back, actually, I think Amari Cooper would be my favorite run back, but it's pretty hard to make, even if you just single stack Tua with Tyreek or Waddle, it's pretty hard to jam in Amari Cooper there with, especially the running backs you want to play. So DPJ is pretty solid. He's gone over 70 yards. I think in 3 of the last 4 games. He's been pretty consistent. It's pretty clear. Even with Njoku, he was getting a handful of targets, but since Njoku went out, he might just be the number 2 option in Cleveland. But you mentioned earlier too that Tua leads the league in yards per pass attempt and has the highest deep ball completion rate. Well, the Browns defense gives up the 4th most yards on deep passes, and they're ranked 30th in DVOA against the deep ball. So, that just screams Tyreek Hill there. So I think it's definitely a sneaky shootout too.